Imagine going to work tomorrow. Same commute, same coffee, same routine. You sit down at your desk, open your inbox, and there's one email waiting for you. No meeting with your manager, no HR conversation, no warning, just one sentence. Your position has been automated. No drama, no goodbye, just gone. It sounds like something out of a dystopian movie, but it's already happening. In 2023, IBM announced plans to pause hiring for thousands of back-office roles because artificial intelligence could perform much of the work. Goldman Sachs estimates that AI could impact up to 300 million full-time jobs worldwide, and according to a Reuters/Ipsos survey, more than half of Americans believe artificial intelligence will eventually replace the work they do today. The question is no longer if AI is coming for jobs. The question is, which jobs? And how much time is left? The numbers nobody wants to hear. Before we talk about specific jobs, we need to understand the scale of what's happening, because most people don't underestimate AI because they're uninformed. They underestimate it because the numbers are almost impossible to comprehend. Goldman Sachs estimates that up to 300 million jobs could be affected by artificial intelligence. To put that into perspective, that's almost the entire population of the United States. McKinsey estimates that by 2030, nearly 30% of all hours worked in the US economy could be automated, not sometime in the distant future, within this decade. And then there's the World Economic Forum. Their prediction sounds surprisingly optimistic. They estimate that 85 million jobs will disappear, but 97 million new ones will be created. At first glance, that almost sounds like good news. More jobs created than lost. Problem solved. Except that's not how labor markets actually work. The people losing those 85 million jobs aren't automatically the same people filling the 97 million new ones. A data entry clerk doesn't suddenly become an AI engineer. A call center employee doesn't wake up as a machine learning specialist. That's not how careers work, and that's exactly why this transition will be so disruptive. Here's the part almost every headline gets wrong. Artificial intelligence isn't replacing every job. It's replacing a very specific kind of job. Jobs that share one critical characteristic: they're predictable, repeatable, rule-based. And once you recognize that pattern, you start seeing it everywhere. Which brings us to 5 professions that may look perfectly normal today, but could look completely different just 5 years from now. Maybe someone you know does one of them. Maybe it's you. 5 jobs that won't exist in 5 years. Number 5. Translators. There was a time when speaking multiple languages almost guaranteed you a career. Today, it takes less than 3 seconds. DeepL, ChatGPT, Google Translate. They can instantly translate emails, contracts, websites, even entire books. And every single month, they get better. The traditional translation industry is already shrinking. Companies no longer hire people to translate product manuals, internal documents, or marketing copy. Why would they? AI is faster, cheaper, available 24 hours a day. Will translators disappear completely? No, but only a small group will remain. Court-certified translators, literary translators, conference interpreters working live in high-stakes negotiations. Everyone else? Their biggest competitor isn't another freelancer anymore. It's an algorithm. Number 4. Data entry and entry-level accounting. If there's one profession that's quietly disappearing, it's this one. Most people don't even realize it's happening. Think about what entry-level accounting used to involve. Typing invoice numbers, matching receipts, entering transactions, sorting documents, checking spreadsheets. Now imagine an AI that never gets tired, never makes a typo, never asks for vacation. Modern accounting software can already scan invoices using OCR, categorize expenses, match payments, and book transactions automatically. Entire workflows that once required teams of people now happen in seconds. The accountants who survive won't be the ones entering numbers. They'll be the ones making decisions, finding risks, advising businesses, thinking strategically, because that's something software still struggles with. Number 3. Customer support. Here's a number that should make every call center pause. 700. That's roughly how many customer service jobs Klarna says its AI assistant has taken over. Think about the average support conversation. Where's my order? How do I cancel? Why was I charged twice? Most interactions follow the same script, the same questions, the same answers. Exactly the kind of work artificial intelligence thrives on. Fast, predictable, repeatable. Does that mean human customer service disappears? Not entirely. The difficult conversations remain. The angry customer, the unusual case, the person who simply wants another human being to listen. But those conversations make up a small fraction of total support requests. If AI handles the first 80%, companies don't need nearly as many people to handle the last 20. Number 2. Junior copywriters and content writers. Just a few years ago, companies hired junior writers to create product descriptions, blog articles, social media captions, email campaigns, landing pages. Today, one AI tool can generate all of that in under a minute for $20 a month. The biggest shift isn't that AI writes perfectly. It doesn't. The biggest shift is that it's good enough. And good enough is often all businesses need. That's why many companies have quietly stopped hiring entry-level copywriters altogether. The work hasn't disappeared. The worker has. The writers who will survive are the ones who offer something AI can't: original ideas, brand strategy, storytelling, a unique point of view. Not just words, but judgment. Number 1, radiology. This is the one almost nobody expects, because when we think about doctors, we assume they're untouchable. But here's the reality. Artificial intelligence has become remarkably good at reading medical images. In several studies, AI systems have matched or even outperformed human radiologists in detecting certain cancers on medical scans. They don't get tired. They don't lose concentration after 8 hours, and they can analyze thousands of images every single day. Does this mean radiologists disappear? No, but their role changes completely. Instead of spending most of their day identifying abnormalities, they'll increasingly supervise AI, verify difficult cases, and make the final clinical judgment. The machine finds the pattern. The human accepts the responsibility. I know what some of you are thinking. So, we're all replaceable? Not exactly. Because while everyone is talking about the jobs AI will eliminate, almost nobody is talking about the jobs it probably never can. The jobs AI can't replace. By now, this all sounds pretty terrifying. And if you work in one of the professions we just talked about, it probably is. But here's the part almost nobody explains. People spend all their time asking, what jobs will AI replace? They're asking the wrong question. The better question is, what makes a job impossible to replace? Because when you look closely, 3 patterns start to emerge. The Category 1. Judgment over information. Artificial intelligence is incredibly good at generating answers. But generating answers isn't the same as making decisions. AI can give you 100 marketing ideas. It can't tell you which one will resonate with this audience at this moment for this brand. That's not intelligence. That's judgment. And judgment comes from experience, context, failure, intuition. The same applies to investigative journalists, film directors, creative directors, business strategists. Their value isn't producing information. Their value is deciding which information actually matters. That's something no language model truly understands. Category 2. Human trust. Imagine sitting across from your therapist. You finally build up the courage to say, I think I'm depressed, and the response is, I'm sorry to hear that. Here are 3 suggestions that may improve your mood. Technically, that's an answer. Emotionally, it's meaningless because people don't just pay for information. They pay to be understood. That's why therapists, nurses, teachers, midwives, palliative care specialists, and countless other professions are far more resilient than many people realize. Their real product isn't knowledge, it's trust. And trust is one of the hardest things to automate. Category 3. The real world is messy. Artificial intelligence loves predictable environments. The real world isn't one. Picture an electrician walking into a 100-year-old house. Nothing matches the blueprints. Previous owners modified everything. Wires disappear into walls they shouldn't exist in. Now solve that with software. Or imagine repairing a leaking pipe in a basement that's flooded, while every building was constructed differently, using materials that haven't been manufactured in decades. This isn't pattern recognition anymore. It's improvisation. Electricians, plumbers, HVAC technicians, elevator mechanics, field engineers. These jobs don't just require knowledge. They require adapting to situations that have never happened before. And that's incredibly difficult for machines. So, here's the most important sentence in this entire video. The future doesn't belong to the people who ignore AI. It doesn't belong to the people who fear AI. And it certainly doesn't belong to the people fighting against it. The future belongs to the people who understand exactly where artificial intelligence stops and where human value begins. Because every technological revolution follows the same pattern. The jobs built on repetition disappear first. The jobs built on judgment survive. If your work can be reduced to a checklist, AI will eventually learn the checklist. But if your work depends on trust, creativity, responsibility, or making decisions when there isn't a clear answer, your value is about to become even more important.